What's the most uncomfortable feeling in the world? Swallowing food or liquid that doesn't choke you but struggles to slide down the gullet anyways. Goddamn chips. I work with people with swallowing disorders. Take a bite of something slick when this happens. Takes the shards on a slip and slide down your esophagus. That first tiny feeling of a sore throat, or maybe a cough, that warns you that you're about to be sick with a cold, flu. I always get back pain before my cold breaks out. I get back pain and my skin hurts. And I've got all that going on right now plus sniffles, so I've got a good weekend to look forward to. When you bite into a food that's supposed to be soft and something crunches. Someone made me scrambled eggs and dropped a piece of shell in them. I bit into it. I was pregnant and it proved too much for my sensitive stomach. I spent the next half hour puking and then couldn't even stand the sight of any kind of eggs for the rest of that pregnancy. I have really bad teeth, so every time it happens I have to do an inspection to make sure the crunch wasn't them cracking. I couldn't imagine being pregnant on top of that. I'd probably cry. When you know you're going to throw up, but haven't yet. That was the worst. When I was little, I couldn't stop. Once I started, I thought I would never to get a break to breathe. I was convinced one time that I would die by suffocating because I couldn't stop throwing up. Thankfully I outgrew that and haven't thrown up in years. I had norovirus a few years back and if my mom weren't there I would definitely have suffocated on my own vomit. I was throwing up so hard, so often, that I legitimately couldn't get a break to suck down air until she came to check on me and gave me a hard slap between my shoulders that paused the vomiting just long enough to suck in some air. When your itches but you have tight pants and cannot scratch it properly. I'll post a good feeling to counteract this one. When your itches and you rip that scratches it just right. Don't. I can only get so hard. When you're with your friends on the sidewalk and suddenly it starts to narrow, so you have no choice but to trail behind them while they have a conversation and you're just like, nothing exposes the true hierarchy of those in a group like being forced to change physical formation. And you're the only one being forced to change the formation of the group. When you eat something that is too dry and you are able to swallow it but it gets stuck in your throat, so you can breathe but it feels like you can't. When you were a kid at your friend's house and their parents started arguing in front of you. I was forced to listen to a whole confrontation about the dad cheating on the mom once. My friend was still asleep next to me in bed and heard none of it, and then I didn't know if I should say anything. I could barely look anyone in the eye that day. It's possible your friend heard it too but was too embarrassed to let on that he was awake. Seeing people try their hardest to succeed and still failing. I knew this girl back when I was a kid that wanted to be a ballerina. She tried as hard as possible but she was just not talented at all. You have to respect the effort, but it's just sad to see. Worse. Imagine being the person getting your socks wet, especially if the water's cold, like someone tracked snow into the house and you step into partially melted snow slush. I have small dogs. I think it's worse when you step in warm liquid. We are going to have to talk later. Either tell me now or don't say anything till you're ready to talk. I got anxiety. I can't handle that. Sneezing when you're on a period, like birthing a jellyfish. Edit. Never knew this view would create such a response. Ha ha ha, and yeah, it feels pretty gross. Thanks for the awards, Redditors. God, that's disgusting. Carrot, yet carrot true. Nausea and everything that goes with it. Vomiting, dizziness, sweating, etc. This is my kryptonite. I can power through anything unless I'm nauseated. It physically takes over my entire body. When you touch the toilet water, when you throw and the water splashes it's called Poseidon's kiss. Kinda like sexual assault. We should wage war on Poseidon. Stab the water, etc. Getting in the shower, realizing you have to take and then sitting on the toilet dripping wet and freezing while shitting your guts out. This happened at the worst possible time for me. So and I were showering, maybe starting to get a little kissy and touchy. Then it hit. I stopped, took a step back, looked at her and said very seriously, I'm sorry but you need to leave. Now. I need to sue so bad and I don't have much time. It's about to come out and you should leave right now. I read your username after reading your comment and I pictured you saying it while running naked to the toilet and holding your butt. When you feel like you're about to sneeze but it just won't happen. When you're about to sneeze but you've been holding in this entire time while in an elevator. And you had eggs for a midnight snack the night before. Trying to go to sleep but being so conscious about wanting to sleep that you are unable to. If you fall asleep now, you'll get 6 hours of sleep. Do it. Sleep. Right now. You're sleeping. You are very sleepy. Sleep. Do it. If you fall asleep right now, you'll get 5 hours of sleep. Trying to sleep with a toothache. I don't know what it is about toothaches compared to other forms of pain. It just uniquely interferes with sleep for some reason. Anxiety about anxiety. That is on earth. Is my heart beating too fast? Am I breathing normally, or too much? Am I lightheaded? Did I get dizzy just now? Am I going to get dizzy and fall down? What if I fall down and bust my head open because I got dizzy? Ugh, my heart rate is way up. What if no one finds me? Will I die alone? Is my condition due to anxiety, or am I full of cancer and heart disease? What if my speech slurs? Can't I just relax? Why is my mind doing this? I'm going to have diarrhea. Is my vision blurry, or did I look at a light? What's that rainbow spinny thing in my eye? I want to run away and keep running. A little too close to home. I felt like reading what's constantly in my head. Going over to a friend's house as a kid, and having to watch as their parents rip them anew for something they did wrong. Telling or showing your mom something you found funny, but then she turns it into a long lecture and you're just there listening. Or she doesn't find it funny. That too, when the sock comes off in your shoe. But have you ever had your underwear fall down in your pants? I set out on a 5K run yesterday. It was for time. My BF and we're seeing who could do it faster. Like 10 strides in, I realized my undies had fallen below my checks. I had to reef them up and fashion them into a thong-like situation, tucked into the sides of my track pants. Needless to say, this impeded my time slightly, but I still beat him by 1 of a second. Booyah! I don't know what it is, but sometimes I feel really weird. I don't know how to describe it, but at that moment, I just don't want to exist. I also feel like throwing up and sleeping and crying at the same time. That sounds really bad, and a lot like anxiety, depression. You should see someone to get a mental checkup. TBH, I thought this was normal. Did you lock your car door? Nah, you must have. It's an automatic reaction, right? Something you do without thinking, right? Something you did without thinking, right? You did it without thinking, right? You sure? Awkward silence with a crush, and the weird glances you give each other, then immediately look away when you catch the other person looking back at you. You just gave me shivers. Stop. That crushing feeling when you were trying to fall asleep and remember something embarrassing, thoughtless, inconsiderate you did once, and then you have a panic attack trying to figure out how to make that feeling go away. Yeah, I might have anxiety watching an unprepared presentation flop, especially if you work with the person and previously have had a lot of respect for them. Biting down on a popsicle stick and pulling it out of your mouth. Scott's tots. Pain aside, I'd say a panic attack. If you've never had one, imagine an encompassing feeling of dread. It completely engulfs your body. Think about how anxiety and fear feels now. Crank the dial up and spread it from your tummy to your whole body. You go dizzy, and I can see how you could possibly pass out. It's like your eyesight moves back into your head, giving your tunnel vision. You start shaking, feel sick. It's super weird. I thought I was having a heart attack when I first had one. I'd say that's pretty uncomfortable. I'd say that's a pretty good description. For me, I also get a feeling of mismatch in my breathing, as if after taking a deep breath I don't feel oxygenated, refreshed until some time after. I breathe in, and it's as if I haven't inhaled at all. Sitting while you're holding your inner. Worse, if you're driving and the road is bumpy. Just imagine that, folks. Imagine the sensation inside your stomach making noises in the middle of a dead silent class. When you wash your hands and accidentally wet your sleeve. Restless leg syndrome when trying to sleep. No matter what you do or try, your legs just ache and feel weird. Those where you have to strip down naked because you're cold sweating. OMG, the relief afterwards though. I love those that make you feel both younger and lighter. Having to give a presentation of something you didn't prepare for. Blanking out in the middle of a presentation and feeling everyone's gaze on you. When you're taking a loud but there's someone in the room next to you and you're trying not to make any noise. Can confirm. I live in a modular home. The walls are as thin as paper. I've mastered fapping quietly. When the tines of a fork touch one of my old school silver fillings. Sneezing on period. Coughing on period. Laughing on period. When you try to silently but it comes out like a nuclear bomb. The mental anguish is horrible. calling the teacher mom. I had the opposite of that happen once. My elementary guidance counselor had been in the district for so long that during a grade-wide assembly on bullying I raised my hand and she called my mom's name. Constipation. Even worse. Diarrhea with no bathroom nearby, neither any hiding place to take a diarrhea with no toilet nearby should be an Olympic sport. A raging yeast infection or cystitis. Sad face. Feeling lonely when you've been sitting for so long that you get sharp pain in your and squirm in the chair for few minutes trying to make it go away. No idea what causes that. What? Waking up and realizing you can sleep in and getting to lay in bed all morning, but you've got to pee really badly. When the tip of your front tooth gets broken off with pliers, it sends a very intense jolt of discomfort through your whole body. Is there a story here? Well, yeah, I had to have a crown removed to get at some problems underneath. The dentist tried a couple other ways to get it off, but nothing was working, so he just took some pliers and said something like, "This may be a bit uncomfortable." Then snap. It was like 6 years ago and I still shudder when I think of it. Washing dishes and sticking your hand in wet food when they're singing happy birthday to me. One time during a bath, a thread of my girlfriend's hair somehow wound itself around my bell and under my eye. I pulled it out without pulling my down. That felt weird, as though new parents don't have enough on their minds. Hair tourniquets are a thing. Babies lose fingers, toes, and yes, felons. Well, hello there, previously unknown fear of mine. Welcome to the party. When your shoes are too tight and you work on your feet all day, I personally would say flirting with someone and then they shut you down immediately creates a very awkward vibe. 5 to 10 seconds before you throw up. Accidentally stepping on a snail. It's like everything moves in slow motion. You can feel every second as it cracks. Wet socks. A piece of something gravelly in your eye. Torture. Watching a film you love that your friends aren't into and aren't even trying. When it finally hits you how insignificant we are and how you'll have to pass through many losses during your lifetime. Also, going to the dentist. Existential dread intensifies. Sweaty pits or hands. Accidentally crunching your teeth on a metal fork. So when are you due? I'm not pregnant. Oh, damn it, Steve. I'm not even female. When you've been hiccuping long and hard and it finally stops but you still feel like it's gonna happen again. When you tap your card. Transaction denied. When you're in an uncomfortable position, but you're in public so you just endure it. Chalk screeching is nightmare-inducing. When you take a sip of something sugary too big for your mouth to handle and it overflows down your face to your neck and gets all sticky. Oh god. Or when you grab a plastic fast food cup a little too hard and it leaks out on the top all over your hand.